constant surveillance. That's what they want. They want to know. You're going to have to swipe in to go to the bathroom at your house. You understand me? Am I making it clear? Yet? Because listen, you don't want this one to be too late. Told you so. This one I do not want to say told you so. But Elon and company and all of his tech bros, the technocrats, man, the tech bros. That sounds like some horrible trip hop group from the late 90s that you just didn't want it. Like, they were horrible. It was like a white guy trip hop group. Tech bros, that's what they were called. Whatever happened to DJ Kyoki? Anyways, you don't want this one to get too late, folks. Elon Musk and his clan, specifically using that language, these fools, they are out here on podcasts perpetrating lies to fool the gullible. They want you. If they have it their way, they keep talking about, we need a CEO in charge. We need a CEO of the company. They want CEOs of towns, cities, states. And you know what that means? I'm going to break it down. I'm going to bring you right to the future of what that means. That long game, having a CEO in charge of everything, means that when you're at home and you want to go poop, you have to use your work scan card to get into your own bathroom. And they will shut the lights off and lock the toilet paper on you, because once a CEO runs America, we are not a government, we are not a democracy, we are nothing besides a for-profit corporation. That's why they want it, because the people with the most money will be running everything. They get to poop for as long as they want. If they want to sit in their own bathroom for a day, they could do it. Us working class, they want to surveil us all day long, folks. They want to make sure that they know your every movement when you're at home. There will be no more off the clock. Okay, you will always be on the clock if they have it their way. And these tech bros are spewing this stuff on podcasts. I just can't believe there's no pushback. Like Sam Cedar and the Majority Report, I linked the video down below. I watched it, and they speak with this absolutely brilliant guy. And they play these interviews of these tech bros. One, I think, was a New York Times podcast. And even Sam Cedar on the Majority Report was like, how is there no pushback? Like, how, like Joe Rogan. Lately, he's been having on all these like far-right billionaire tech bros. And Joe Rogan is a self-professed moron. And I take him at his word, because I've heard some of the things that come out of his mouth. And outside of like being creative and a good interviewee, Joe Rogan is an idiot, okay? Natick, Massachusetts own Joe Rogan is a moron. Because as much as that guy, like, is a professional podcaster, you would think he would at least, like, Google some of this stuff before, like, not look at one tweet as a reference point and then base his whole fucking economic worldview on one tweet. But I linked... Oh, what's up, Pickle Squad? Hola, como estas? Subha? Kumar, good morning. God morning. A God morning to you. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm Rob. I go live every single weekday, and I would need you to join me, because I'm here to tell you that these tech bros, Elon Musk, every guest that Joe Rogan has on, they want to turn America into a corporation, so you have to use a work pass at your house to scan into the bathroom when you want to poop. That's what it's coming down to, folks. They're hinting at it, but this is the long game. I'm abbreviating it for you, okay? You know how some of you have to scan into work or punch in at work or whatever it is? I don't even think they have digital time cards, or maybe they gave you a little chip in your arm. I know Elon Musk wants to do that. Why do you think he wants to do that? Because if they turn America into a corporatocracy, if they have it their way and they keep bragging about this, that they want a CEO in charge, they want a CEO for president, why do you think? Because then everybody's going to get chipped, and then when you go home, there is no more such thing as off the clock. If you want to access your fridge and they think you're too fat, guess what? Deny scan. If they go, you've been in the bathroom for a while, we're going to shut the lights off on you. You think a smart home's good until other people control it, the people with all the money. Skibbity. Sigma Rizzler. Pickle Squad, do you I look like Post Malone? No, I don't. Don't say that. I do not like Post Malone. I don't have those tattoos. I have stupider ones. Hi, I have challenge. Okay. Pickle Squad, do you play Fortnite? Making me think because the hint for next season, Chapter 6, Season 2 in Fortnite is a pickle. They're going to have Pickle Peely. And you do? Oh, snap. I thought so. I thought so. All right, so listen. Let's lay it out right now. Elon Musk, all these, and that's the other thing. People, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm trying to educate you, but more importantly, we need to come together as a community to understand that we need to be learned, because there are stupid out there, like high-level stupid people out there parading themselves around like they're intelligent because they think saying words together makes me smart. But there's an interview, right? Sam Cedar, Majority Report, played this dude. Link down below. Watch it after you watch this video, but watch it, because there's some billionaire out there who is saying FDR basically ran the New Deal like a startup. They said FDR was a CEO, which I said, man, if you know anything about FDR, and if you don't, it's okay. Maybe you know he was the president who started the New Deal, got us out of the Depression, World War II. Maybe you understand that FDR, was elected 4 times. The reason we have, a 2-time limit for presidents is because from 1933 to 1945, I think it was, FDR was the president. Like, he was so beloved that fucking people were like, keep that dude. He's amazing. He's the one that implemented a minimum wage. And these people that are parading themselves around like smart folks are the fucking stupidest, the effing stupidest ones out there, because they're saying they know how beloved FDR is. But I can't think of them being smart in any other sense. I think they're just trying to make their feelings facts. And they're trying to say FDR ran the New Deal like a startup. He was a CEO. We need a CEO. And they want to relate those two. But if you ever hear anyone say that, you need to understand a couple of things. Number one is the government is not a business. It is not run for profit. It provides services to the people. There is no profit. Businesses only exist for profit. You ever seen a business go, we just want to exist because we love people? They might tell you that in commercials, but guess what? If they're not making profit, they close down. So businesses run for profit. Government is for the people. It's a service. It can lose money. It can break even. It does not matter. It is something that we pay taxes into to get services, roads, we don't get healthcare, but the stuff that we need. There's more things that need to be nationalized. But FDR was the opposite of a CEO, and he was the opposite of running anything like a startup. Number one, because FDR implemented the minimum wage, which means he was the one who said, if your business has to operate on exploitation of people, of paying people a living wage, your business can't do that, then it should not exist in America. FDR believed that you should have a minimum wage, which should be a wage which you can live on. You could buy a house on. It didn't need to be a bare subsistence level, his words. So FDR was the antithesis of a CEO. He believed people should be paid properly, in businesses that did not do that, he called out the CEOs. He said, if you can't pay people properly, your business shouldn't exist here in America. I don't support Trump or Kamala. Stop. I hate Trump, and I don't like Kamala. Guys, we are beyond this, okay? We are beyond. It is not Trump, Kamala. It is the people. It is a class war, folks. I need you on my page. This is not fucking red and blue. This is we're from the bottom, and we're coming from people at the top, okay? This is the Free Luigi group. If you follow me. Watch your tone, Pickle. Watch that tone, Pickle. What's Pickle doing? I don't know. I'm missing stuff. But these people are operating at a high level of stupidity when they try to pawn off FDR as a CEO or running the New Deal like a startup. Because he didn't. Because startups exploit people. Usually the person who is doing the startup gets a bunch of venture capital bundled into them, and they're very well known at like paying people little or doing seedy, greedy, grifty type things, anything to make their business survive. FDR did not do that. He wanted to put everyone to work. He wanted everybody to have a good wage. He wanted everybody to be able to survive. And these people are preying on the ignorance, the stupidity, the bad public school system. Why do you think they want to get rid of, the Department of Education? No politics, Picklebo. Oh, no. This is everything's politics, Livy, the toe gobbler. Livy the toe gobbler. Everything is politics. But like CJ said, thank you, CJ, good to see you. It is a rich, poor thing. It is the haves versus the haves not. This is where I'm trying to unconditioned. This is like getting Stockholm syndrome people that they're like Trump or Kamala, Trump, and I'm like, oh, you fools, you've been played. They are on the same team. Did you not see Obama and Trump and fucking Biden and all like having fun? Like that's performance art at peak levels, folks. Them pretending they all hate each other. Because really, where's Kamala right now? Let me ask you that. If you're a big Kamala fan, where is she? She's the one who ran her whole campaign saying, this is a threat to democracy if you don't vote for me. Well, she lost. So democracy's over and she just disappeared. Have you seen her? I haven't seen her. Is she on TikTok? Is she making any videos? Please, bitch. Give me a break. Really? This will be the end of democracy and you lose and just disappear? Would you ride off into the sunset? Are you even in America anymore? This is what I mean. Like, we need to recondition people to understand this is not red and blue, okay? This is not. It's like what Tupac said. We are from the bottom and we come for people at the top. Remember, Elon Musk is going to be a trillionaire at some point. What that means is if he earned $2,000 an hour from the day Jesus was born until now, okay, and never paid taxes, never paid anything, $2,000 an hour or 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, you would have maybe $4 billion. He's going to have thousands of dollars times that. That's how much money. His kids' won't be able to spend this money. That's how much money he has. And we want to pretend like this is red versus blue. This is not red versus blue, folks. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I need to educate people. We need to be educated. I want my toes gobbled. Oh, Pickle Squad and Livy the Toe Gobbler. This is quite the group. And please hit subscribe because I need this bet. I will be at the end of your bed tonight. This is turned into a horror movie. This is like a Studio 24. What is it? What's that studio? I love A24. Studio A24. Livy the Toe Gobbler is gonna get an A24 movie. By the way, let's take a real quick break from politics. But again, whoever said no politics, you're wrong. Fred Hampton said it. Everything is political. Everything is politics. From when you get in your car and drive down the street, everything is politics. What is the speed limit, where the stoplights are, the crosswalks are, everything's political. So never let people tell you, this is, stay out of politics. I don't. That means they want to put their head down and let somebody rule over them. Foreplay only, kids. Like toenails, they had some crunch and click. Livy, you really are turning this into an A24 studio movie. If you guys haven't seen, what's that? There's a new movie with Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd. What is it called? Friends or something? Best Friends? And the trailer just dropped. If you guys have not seen that trailer, please go watch it. Tim Robinson, the the comedian who did I Think You Should Leave Now, and before that he did Detroiters. I should have linked it down below, but it is absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to see. I haven't been this excited for a movie in a while. And it's Studio A24. Is that what it's called? A24? I forget. They do great films. I think that's what it's called. What is this roasting in front of my mom's room? Oh, Jesus. All right. Let's keep it tame, folks. Let's keep it tame. Okay, so I wanted to tell you about this video from the Majority Report. And it is down below because they highlight these interviews that these billionaire tech bros are going on, parading themselves out. They're gallivanting like smart people, but it's really a facade. It reminds me so much of like Trump and Elon's interview yesterday or the day before, whenever I watched Hassan react to it. And Hassan does an amazing job of like breaking things down and just calling it what they are. But the whole time I thought, outside of Elon having his son everywhere with him because he uses his child as a human shield ever since Free Luigi, but it just reminded me, I was like, Elon's sitting here saying words that don't make sense. And the interviewers are not pushing back. Even at one point, Elon was like, everybody's so quiet. I was like, guys, stop being intimidated by how much money he has. He's showing off. He's like a peacock of stupid. You know, like he's parading himself out, spreading his feathers out, and it's all stupidity. Because Elon even said something like, right now people aren't productive. And if we're more productive, we have a happier society. And everyone was just quiet in the room. And I was like, can anybody ask him a follow-up on like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, if anything, we're the most productive we've ever been as a civilization. We're producing more than we can consume ever. That's why there are dumpsters full of good food, clothes, sneakers. Like, it doesn't even make sense. And of course, it comes from a guy who's pretending to be smart. But any basic follow-up questions to all of these interviews, whether it's Elon, and again, Elon's talking about standing next to Trump, who's been convicted of fraud, saying we're rooting out fraud. I thought it's just like when the police are like, we'll release the body cam after we investigate and we decide if we committed any crimes. It's like, oh, this is very trustworthy. The guy who's sitting there convicted of fraud is telling us he's rooting out the fraud. I guess it takes one to know one, but for you to believe that like they're doing it in your best interest is fucking crazy. But just between Elon and Trump's interview saying we're rooting out fraud, and I thought, oh, who believes these people? Why is there no pushback? And then the billionaires saying that FDR was a CEO and ran the New Deal like a startup, and the New York Times podcast or whatever podcast these people were, yeah, he wasn't elected. That's right, CJ. And these other podcasts that are not questioning. Like I always say, just question, at least say why. Even if you don't know what they're talking about, just say like why. Like that would have been perfect for the follow-up to Elon saying like, if we produce more, there's a happier civilization. Say why, Elon? Produce more for what? If they don't have enough money, if they're not paid enough, like why? Why? If you can't afford to buy what we produce, why does it make us happier? You just ask these people why, and I think their fucking house of cards will crumble. But it's amazing that there's no pushback. So I linked a couple of videos. Unelected bureaucratic shaming unelected bureaucrats. I feel like I'm on the Titanic. We are on the Titanic, and that's why I'm waving the red flags, saying, "Yo, this is a everybody needs to be high alert. High alert. It's crazy. Ignoring your kid in the Oval Office. Well, he put his kid on his back at one point." And I think Elon thinks it's like humanizing, but if anything, I just see him as like a human shield. I'm like, your kid's been nowhere with you until Free Luigi, and all of a sudden he doesn't leave your side. I'm like, you understand, like there's some times when it's appropriate and sometimes where it's not. That poor kid though. I mean, if you want to know how Elon got to be Elon, just look at how his dad treated him. Elon's been in interviews said, who knows if he's believable, but talked about the abuse he faced. If anything, just the psychological abuse of his dad marrying his stepsister. That's enough to fucking explain Elon away. He shouldn't be in charge of anything. So I want you to watch this Majority Report. I'm sure Bandito already saw it. But when they try to pawn this stuff off, and this is why it's so important to not just be a little bit educated, but just to know some stuff. Like FDR and his New Deal was not run like a startup. FDR was the antithesis of a CEO. He wanted to pay people. He believed you should pay everybody a livable wage. CEOs do their best to exploit and lay people off. The New Deal put millions of workers to work, millions of Americans. We built roads and highways and routes and whatever it is. I mean, CEOs do the opposite. They want to condense the work to the few people that are left after a massive layoff so they can buy back their stocks. And I mean, but so when you hear this stuff and you go, how is nobody pushing back? Does nobody know this stuff? Like, am I sitting on an island alone understanding this? Or like, just ask him what he means. And like, these people are gallivanting around as smart people when really it's like Halloween for them, They're pretending to fucking be smart when they're not. Get them from the kids at school. Oh, Pickle Squad. Don't vape. Don't vape. Don't vape. Don't. Save yourself. Save yourself to years. Save yourself. The other thing, Climate Town. If you don't watch Climate Town on YouTube, I'll link the video down below because yesterday they've released a very interesting video on Landman with Billy Bob Thornton and how a basically big oil propaganda speech got in there. And that was fascinating. But what was even more fascinating is they highlighted the Joe Rogan podcast because the guy who wrote Landman and co-creator, he went on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was another one these guys are functioning at a high level of stupidity. You got to understand that. Like, there's a lot of people like Joe Rogan, a lot of his guests lately, these are high functioning idiots. High functioning idiots. It's almost, you wonder, like, if, like, they must live in a bubble, Like, they must not have to encounter anyone in the most delicious thing about it is the irony of how they complain about woke culture or cancel culture of the left, and they say, you know, these people are so fragile they can't hear a different point of view. But again, they just sit in a room, $100 million room with $100 million people repeating the things that they each want each other to hear, not looking up if it's true, not double checking, not watching Climate Town's video that disproved a lot of their stuff, not basic common sense. And that's what they do. They sit in there and just regurgitate things to each other to make themselves pat themselves on the back about how they think they know stuff. It's really, it's a spectacle to watch Joe Rogan and his guests. I don't know, Sheridan something, I forget his name. It's all in Climate Town. I can't do a video like they can. Climate Town is hilarious. Raleigh Williams, I highly suggest you watch this video. The other fascinating news was that Ivanka Trump apparently was using the U.S. aid money the last go about it in 2019. So I wonder if they'll root out that fraud. This is when, you know, it gets really, really suspect. And the people who support what's going on right now, you just got to question it. You got to question if you believe the guy who's been convicted of fraud is really working in your favor. You know, the guy who has started many, many different campaigns, taking your money to use for his legal bills, if he's really working in your best interest. The Constitution, I don't even think exists anymore. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, it's just horrible. By the way, I'm pretty proud of your vapeless son here. Oh, thank you. I actually gave up my vape. Gave it up. In a world of Elon's Beal Luigi. Thank you, Benny. We are cooked. We are cooked. And the Constitution, I mean, who was it? There was someone who is, I think, was it on the Majority Report? Bandito must know. But they were talking about how a long time ago, Andrew Jackson, that scumbag, basically said the judge made his ruling. The Supreme Court made a ruling saying like he couldn't genocide the natives. And Andrew Jackson said the judge made his ruling. Now let him enforce it. Meaning, like, what are you going to do? You make rulings. You don't have the authority to come and, like, enforce what I do, and challenging everything that our government was set up on, checks and balances. So, we're really at a point where it's like, it's scary. But again, this is why I want to bring this stuff to your attention. I think the most important thing is to educate people, you know? To educate people. Number one, that when they say don't talk politics, it's like, you know who loves that? The people that are running everything. They want you to not talk politics, stay out of it. And I'm not talking about voting. I'm talking about being informed about like what is what. And then when these billionaires gallivant and peacock with their stupidity out on podcasts, and they're all saying like, FDR was a CEO, and they're just like brilliantly showing off their stupidity, you need to understand that, like, that makes no sense. FDR was not into layoffs. He wasn't into underpaying people. FDR, if anything, put the country to work. He brought us out of the Great Depression. FDR was the reason we have a minimum wage. CEOs do everything they can to pay you the minimum wage. In fact, if there was no minimum wage, they'd pay you less. You know how I know? Look at served workers. Service where tipped workers, they're paid less than than minimum wage, and these restaurant lobbies and all these corporate CEOs fight against tipped workers making the minimum wage. I've been at the State House to testify, and I've seen these fucking high-paid lawyers and their fear-mongering on it. Read Project 2025. Oh yeah, Shock Doctrine, Bandito. I got that book. I'm halfway through. Shock Doctrine is the book. Listen. If you haven't joined the Discord, link down below. Thank you very much, Solus, for helping me build that. We have a book club thread in the Discord. Shock Doctrine, I believe I put it in there, but that is a very, very important book. Read Shock Doctrine. It's a great read. It's a fantastic, it's like a thriller, but it's all real life. Just like I always say, read Utopia for Realists. If you want to find out how we can solve homelessness and how Denver almost did. I think it was Denver. Shout out Naomi Klein, right? For real. 100%. That is such a good investment. See, I want to start my own school because kids before they graduate high school should be reading Shock Doctrine, Utopia for Realists. They should be reading Negroes with Guns. They should be reading John Brown's autobiography. They should be reading, I'm trying to think what else. I have a few different books that are Binding Chaos by Heather Marshall, I think it is. Binding Chaos I'm working on. Started my children watching America, The Story of Us. They learned about John Brown. Ooh. And when they're old enough, have them watch Ethan Hawke's Good Lord Bird. Ethan Hawke plays John Brown in The Good Lord Bird. And if you're an adult, just watch that. I purchased it because that series is so good on my family. But that documents loosely with some, Hollywood stuff in there. But The Good Lord Bird, one of the greatest series in the history of cinema, even though it's TV. But it's like long form TV. I don't know if that qualifies as cinema. So yeah, man, these people are operating at a high level of stupidity. And like Sam Cedar in the Majority Report we're discussing, which much respect to him, to Hassan. Like these are the leaders in the world right now. Hassan and Sam Cedar. And Climate Town and some more news. Like those are the leaders of the world right now. They're the only ones talking common sense. That's why I say like it's not red blue. This is not Democrat Republican stuff. This is like that's why the Democrats are not saying anything, because they're all owned by corporate CEOs. None of them want to say anything, speak up, because they don't want their money pulled, and that's where they're funded by. Oh God. She's pretty shocked about slavery. Oh yeah, my daughter will come home. Oh, you missed a Majority Report to watch me. Oh, Bandito, I gotta say, that is an honor. And Hassan just went live right now. I know, I picked the worst time to go live because I'm competing with Hassan and Majority Report. In fact, I gotta go so I can watch Majority Report in a minute. But I'm telling you, Bandito, if you haven't seen this interview, please watch it, because like Sam was talking about, he said these people are allowed to do these podcasts, and the interviewers who are responsible for propagating this stuff don't do any pushback because they're banking on America to be so stupid. Most Americans to be so stupid to not understand that FDR was the antithesis of a CEO. He ran the New Deal, nothing like a startup, but they're just banking on people to go, wow, this is the worst thing about America. One of the worst things. They correlate money and intelligence. They think if you have a lot of money, you must be smart. Not understanding that, like, I forget it, 70% or higher get their wealth from generational wealth. Their parents were wealthy, they are wealthy, they pawn themselves off as smart. Wealth has nothing to do with smarts, intelligence, nothing. They do not correlate at all, especially in America. They're 12 and 9. Yeah, so my daughter will come home and she'll be like, can you believe this? She'll tell me about her books, and she'll be like, they said this about, and she's well versed in slavery and Harriet Tubman and that whole part of history in America. She's studied it since she was, like 6. And she'll get really mad, and I'll say, just bring it up in school, bring it up in class, educate people. I love that about my kids, that they're smart, they want to learn. They can't learn it all yet. I got to hold some stuff back, but the Roosevelts, amazing family. Amazing. Oh man, FDR. That's why he was elected 4 times in a row. Because he didn't treat everybody like a CEO. You know any CEOs that fucking people like right now? Tell me a CEO that's like, popular. They don't exist, because they're only there to make sure that they're meeting Wall Street's expectations and their quarter over quarter profits are rising. And that's why you hate work. That's why your work sucks. Because CEOs have created the structure of the company to only benefit the profit margins. That's it, folks. This is not about red versus blue. And I hate how Joe Rogan keeps making it like, all the Democrats are the woke It's like, you fucking moron. You are so fucking I don't mean to keep cursing, but you were so dumb. You were so dumb. Like, Natick, I don't want to say is like a total working class town, but where he comes from is like, that's a working class town. And for him to just turn around and poo on, most of Massachusetts, which is working class, not all, but there's a lot of working class towns, man. And for you to just poo on us or mislead people, it's like, God, Joe, you do it on purpose. Oh, son is 5 and his filter's broken. They thought he was a dictator when he made Americans turn in their gold and start the gold standard. Well, listen, there's some fascinating stuff I don't know about the Roosevelts, but I continue to try to learn. I need to find some better books. But I do know that they talked about FDR said to the unions at the time, because membership was huge during Roosevelt's reign. And that he basically said to the unions, you got to force my hand, like show up, go out into the streets, show up, force my hand so I can help you guys. And just everything I've heard is just really surreal and incredible to think about somebody who really cared about a nation, and I read some of his speeches. I love, reading some of his stuff. And it's just, when you go back and read that stuff, you go, man, it was just a different kind of, even the billionaire, the robber barons at that time. Like, think about that. That's another interesting thing I like to think about. The robber barons at the time, the Rockefellers or whatever they were, they put their name on everything. They built huge public libraries. They built museums. They did all this philanthropy, which is horrible because capitalism demands philanthropy to offset the exploitation of these robber barons. But I thought, imagine that. Imagine if Mark Zuckerberg felt some kind of guilt for all the horrendous stuff his billions have cost society, and he was like, I'm donating Mark Zuckerberg's libraries to every town. Like, he could easily do that. But instead, he's like, I want to train my AI metadata on stolen, pirated books. The level of stupidity and the level of human that we have in power right now is full scale horrible. Like, it doesn't get worse than this. At least the robber barons back in the day were like, you know what? We're looking really bad. We got to build up the city and put our name everywhere and donate everything, donate to the causes and all that. These people are the absolute opposite. Elon Musk is like, no, I'm going to siphon your tax money and shoot and make it explode, make my rockets explode, and you watch them. You're going to watch your tax dollars explode in Florida. Watch so much C-SPAN and PBS News, Democracy Now! I love Democracy Now! Bandito, I gotta be honest, I stopped watching, we cut the cord, but I stopped watching all the news because my kids were asking so many questions. I said, you know what, we gotta slow it down, because I don't like them seeing. That's my biggest problem with the media. They run Trump stuff with no pushback. Like, if I had a TV show or radio station, I had to play anything from the president, I would be pausing it like Hassan, and I would be going, well, this is a flat out lie. Or if Democracy Now! Played the clip or New York Times, if they had that podcast of that billionaire saying FDR ran the New Deal like a startup, I would freeze it in editing and enter my own commentary. I'd be like, this is just a bold-faced lie. There's no way this makes even the least a bit of sense. And when we asked him, he couldn't make it make sense. Just an editor's note. You got to do that, because if you don't, you're presenting this shit and you're allowing these people the credibility of your platform to poison the well. They're poisoning the well, and America's not the brightest. So Teddy's vice president became the president. Teddy didn't like that he was dandy and tried to start the Labor Party. Ooh, interesting. Talked to him a whole protest. This is awesome. Yeah, the 17th. I seen that. I'm gonna be at work. I want to go to a protest too. But do what you can. Listen, I gotta go. Bandito, CJ, love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Bandito, I'll probably see you in the Majority Report comment section. When I watch now, I go. I always type in Bandito. You here? I hope to see you. We need to monitor their progress. Let them talk. Yep. So. I'm going to hope to catch a little Majority Report, and then I'm going to watch some Hassan, because these are brilliant minds. These really are brilliant minds, and they're cutting through the BS, which is what we need right now. That's why I say hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, because I'm going to cut through the BS. We got to call it out. We got to at least do our little part. Like Michael Jackson said. I keep thinking about Michael Jackson, man. Me and my son were watching his Super Bowl appearance last night on YouTube, and I thought, this man was so incredible. Never mind the controversy. Just think about, he wrote a song, Healed the World, saying we got to make this a better place for our children. And then he did the Super Bowl appearance that had millions of kids around him, like, yo, let the kids sing it. And I thought, they're not people like Taylor Swift ain't doing that. She ain't writing songs called Heal the World. Michael Jackson really did believe in having a better tomorrow. I don't want to address the controversy, just who he was as an artist. He really, he made songs that still move me to this day, because I'm like, who? He even says, he's like, I wrote this because we need to be responsible to our children. It's amazing. What's up, Pickle Squad? We don't watch lamestream media. Yeah, I don't watch it either. Democracy Now! On YouTube, I will watch. Democracy Now! Is amazing. But all the other media outlets, New York Times, you suck. Everything else is just, it's propaganda. And when they don't challenge it, they lend it credibility by presenting it as real news or unchallenged facts or whatever it is. And it really, that's why the irony of Joe Rogan when he's like, oh man, they can't tolerate hearing anything different. I'm like, bud, you only interview people that have your fucking point of view. That's it. It's a bunch of patting on the back during your interviews now. It's so weird. These fragile people. And who said it? Was it the Majority Report? Somebody said that Doge stands for destruction of government by Elon. So from now on, I want to share that with you. Doge actually represents the destruction of government by Elon. Destruction of government by Elon. Doge. Remember it. All right, Bandito, I'll see you in the Majority Report. CJ, thank you. Pickle Squad, good to see you. Everybody else, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, join the community. We are keeping it live, keeping it real. We are cutting through the BS. We will not allow this to happen. Even in our small little space, like Michael Jackson said, you got to look at the man in the mirror. That's how you start that change. He was such a great entertainer, by the way. Go watch his stuff back. My God, he could put on a show. All right, I love you. Peace.